What's up, everybody? My name is Joy Moya. I'm going to share with you an artistic testimony of memories that have helped to define what I observe as beauty marks. I have divided these reflections into 13 chapters. Let's begin with chapter 7, So High. As I stated in a previous chapter, my mother didn't know she was pregnant with me, so she smoked. She smoked weed, she smoked cigarettes, and she drank until she found out at about 5 months. She was respectful toward me with her smoking, never did it around me until I was maybe 11 or 12. She gave me a shotgun once when I was still in grammar school. Then when I made it to my sophomore year, I started smoking off and on, but never to the point of habit. The habit didn't form until I was forced to walk through hell. Before then, it was always occasional. This video was taken at one of the most painful times. I was really feeling it. I was crushed to learn that my mother had gotten hooked on the heavy drugs. I had to hear about it through gossip because I had left my childhood community and only came back home when it was needed. I eventually became a caretaker for my mother, and she became reliable on me for just about everything. Whenever there was a problem, she called me. Whenever she couldn't get the dope boys out of her house, she called me. When she had a heated argument with her then boyfriend, she called me. If something was broken, she called me. So I was angry. I was angry and embarrassed that she had given up and let go so bad. She was behaving just like a drug addict. Her apartment was raided before, and I had to kick out a few guys who had moved in on her. So yeah, that was an experience that I had to go through. I was married at the time. Yeah. So as I was growing up, she barely spoke to people in the community, and if she did, it was only a few words. So the fact that she became well known in the community, friends with everybody in the complex where I grew up, was surprising to me. Because I didn't know half of the people that she knew and she had become friends with. I didn't grow up with a lot of friends that could come over to my house or sleep over or even hang out. She was strict, making sure that no other parent could tell her that I was a bad influence on their child. So no company until I was almost out of high school. I went to Red Lobster with my ex, and I was so out of it, okay? I was tired from all of the blood loss. I was starving and numb, to be honest. And I noticed that there were 2 women recording me eating. So I took the photo of the menu to remind me of what happened that night. They didn't know what had happened to me. They didn't know what I had gone through. They didn't know the pain that I was battling. I think that was around the time when Snapchat was really popular. So I just overlooked them. I just disregarded them. But there were so many times when I was being recorded, okay? So I knew of every time. I just really couldn't say anything. And I really wish that I was able to tell people, like, look, I know that it may look a certain way on the outside, but these trains are treacherous, and I'm not going to do this video over. I wanted to tell people, like, look, I understand what it looks like on the outside, but on the inside, God is working with me, and I am okay. Although it may not look like it, but I am okay. I know on the outside it looks a certain way, but on the inside, I am with God. God is with me, and I am okay. But I could not relay that information. Again, I was tired. I was exhausted. I was out of it. And of course, I was smoking heavily at the time. So at some point came the separation. I heard God speak to me clearly, and it began my pursuit to come away from the dependency, as I was smoking about maybe 3 or 4 blunts a day for a very long time. The key for me was to get away from access to it and away from other people that smoked. Sure, I relapsed several times, but it wasn't as much and as long as the dependency. I thought I was in the clear completely until I became homeless again, hurt again. I stayed with a complete stranger. He worked in a building I was staying in at the time and overheard me tell the story of how I was being put out with nowhere to go or no one to call for help, and I had no idea what to do. So I took him up on his offer because I wasn't going backwards. It was like God was slapping me in my face because I stayed in one of the most dangerous projects in the Chicago area. It was the same project complex that I had performed in as an exotic dancer back in the early 2000s. It was a dangerous experience, definitely, and it was only God that kept me and protected me because didn't nobody care. Nobody cared. God didn't stop speaking to me, and I didn't stop listening. So I took this photo to help me remember how hard it was to keep faith in God after all that had happened, and even after all that I just I still wouldn't wish what I have gone through on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish the pain that I endured on my worst enemy. But I have not smoked in years. I want to say in about maybe 3 years. Well, something like that, okay? Because again, there have been times where I have relapsed, but again, it's not to the point whereas it's like dependency level. Maybe I think maybe once or twice, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. But again, other than that, no smoking, no drinking, and I am so proud of myself. So it doesn't look like my eyes are open on this picture, but they are. I was definitely at some place that I should not have been at a party I should not have been at. But I wanted to get out. I wanted to be somewhere other than home at the time. And of course, I had been smoking, and although my eyes do not look open, they are wide open. But I took this picture because I was feeling like, why wasn't I being loved? Like, I was feeling like Was I not worthy of love? And why wasn't I being understood? And just why was everything happening that was happening? And yeah, I took this photo because I was just so distraught. So this is me being distraught that everything was falling apart. I had endured so many losses by this time. In this photo, there were so many losses that had happened. There was just so much bloodshed that had already happened at this photo. And again, this photo represents me smoking very heavily. So it's also after one of the miscarriages. Because of the fullness of my face, I can tell with the actual weight gain. So I was dealing with a little bit of that as well.